Shutter speed, when used responsibly, has no known victims, as I showed you in the previous episode. Exposing with shutter for vlogs, not a big deal at all. No one's going to notice. It's better than exposing with a toniager. You'll lose your tonies. You lose your respect. But to humor you, I went out yesterday with the Sony A7S III 200 to 600 wildlife with proper shutter for movement. So magical. In slow motion. Is that needed? Because I had the previous mindset that if you're freezing the action, it doesn't really matter. You're not looking for blur. But blur was magic, wasn't it? We'll see.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
As a side experiment, we're in disgusting Sony color science, and I will switch to 12,800 ISO because they say dual native ISO. It's just the same as native. We're in the lowest one, thanks to Gerald Undone. He gave us permission to use the lower ISOs. We're at 160 with the light cranked up pretty high. And then we're going to switch to 12,800 at some point, and you will see the roughage. I bet you Panasonic would be better in low light than the A7S III in some situations, because Sony's so bad up to 12,800, and I don't think it's the same after either. Case in point, this was at like ISO 80,000 or something. I had a ND filter on. I thought I would need an ND filter to get the proper shutter, but on a cloudy day, I needed nothing of the sort, and this was burned into my brain forever. Now, we got some 4K 120p examples with perfect shutter, and then I raised it in HD 240, and we will see the difference. So right now, most of these shots, I'm at 12,800 ISO, and I don't see the same magic. It's not quite as magical as I remembered. I don't know, man. 4K 120p. We got squirrel action. I'm not gonna lie to you, that little leap for mankind was nice with the shutter blur. It was effective. Unfortunately, all the animals today decided to not move much, therefore ruining my tests. They didn't realize I was working. I was a working professional. Here's a cute little head movement in HD 240 frames per second. Look at that. That's cuteness as the crumbs of life fall from his chin. Oh, he enjoys one last snack before the hawk came and stole him from his family. So first thing I noticed while reviewing this footage was fantastic. Actually, I really prefer the proper shutter speed. It should be how we do things, but getting it is not always easy. It actually is much harder, and it's really annoying on the Sony. It puts you between those terrible ISOs. There was a lot of times where I had to actually stop down the toniager to get proper exposure with 12,800 ISO, because if you're at 10,000, welcome to unusable homeless footage. The worst ever. I hate the Sony so much. I hate you. I hate. In my blood is where the hate boils first. Calm down. Let me just look at some squirrel footage to relax. He did glance over at me. He was looking at me then, but then even looked further into my soul, and he's like, "You don't have almonds?" Okay, I thought you were cool, man. I thought, I'm out of here. I'm leaving any second now. Any second, I'm gone forever from your life. And here is some friendly motion blur squirrel action. It's beautiful. Like how you would see it in a movie. Even though he's running away from my focal plane, I didn't even realize it. That hurts. That hurts the soul. That might have sparked the need to be in proper shutter speed. As this bird looked at me, he knew that I was in the proper shutter, and he was like, okay, are you ready for this? Are you in autofocus? You're not? Okay, cool. I'm going to fly at you, and you just track me. Okay, here we go. All right, you're doing it? I'm doing my part. What are you doing? I did my part in my own way. I wanted an artful defocus as he came towards me. That bird doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, before we get to the best footage of the day, super slow-mo, let us switch to 12,800 ISO and see if we see a difference. I think we will, won't we? Next to me is a posh, just overprivileged guy who doesn't even eat canned turtles. First of all, Guy's at a regular base ISO, the lower, even lower than normal, thinking he's all special. Oh, I'm super sharp, low noise footage. Here we are. I'm in the superior 12,800. No noise can be detected, unlike the noise he makes in the shower. Very suspicious things going on there. I've heard the noises. Just clean up and move on already. I look better. That's all there is to it. I had to lower my light source to 2% and up the shutter to 640. There's nothing wrong with that. Motion blur is not needed in your living room. Italians shouldn't talk with their hands. I'm going to go. One more side experiment with lighting. We have the lantern of life. I have blocked out half of my window light. Does that matter? I'm going to now remove my blockage in the colon. Did the colors now change? Was that my problem for so long, that I have this mixed lighting, different color? Although this is a daylight bulb and it's daylight now. They do look pretty similar. Damn it. Damn you not being able to change the color temperatures. That's gonna F me for life. Okay, I got like 3 hours of magical sparrow footage. They float in an anti-gravity deception, much like the filmmakers who filmed our moon landing in the desert on Earth in a studio. Faking gravity is fun to do, but sparrows don't need to. So here we have friendly motion blur, and I gotta tell you, the magic was ours. The cinema, the flaps. I do notice it now in my footage. Like, many times I have a bird taken off and it does look a little jittery, even though it is in slow-mo. So if you can, you notice that focus pull. In slow motion, focus pulls really suck. They take way longer than you thought they would, but we get the magic. Oh man, you have to strive for this. You really do. You might need a ND filter at times, and that sucks because a lot of the telephoto lenses, they're big. Like the Sony, can you imagine a 95mm filter ND? Like, unbelievable. Freewell sent me a ND32, a 64, and a circular polarizer, and I couldn't even use any of them. They were too dark for this cloudy day, so I gotta wait for a sunny day to test those, but they're magnetic. The only thing that sucks is my Sony doesn't have that little flap in the hood that you open to turn the circular polarizer. I don't know that it needs to be turned. It wasn't turning easily even without the hood, so that was weird. Magnetic. Doesn't turn though. How is the 12,800 color science? Because the colors change. It's not only noise, that gets softened. Softened? Details are lost. Noise is increased. And colors change. Change your diaper later on. Why would I want that? So I have concluded that if you want the best footage possible, yes, you should. Focus on getting an ND filter maybe. Get that, just lock in your shutter speed to where it should be, which brings up a interesting conundrum because I'm used to having aperture priority mode and my custom modes are all saved in that. You can't switch to manual in a Sony on your custom modes, so I would have to redo it and fully commit to that manual mode, and that's a rough one. It's nice, but I don't know if I'm willing to do that. And then it's just another thing to worry about. I'm already panicking trying to get the bird in frame and then in focus and then steady that bullshit heavy Sony camera and keep it in the shot. And now I also have to think, is it exposed now? So I'm looking at the metering, hoping, okay, we need +1. There's probably some leniency, but I often forget what to do. And oh man, it just adds a new wrinkle. But I'm up. I am up for the challenge. We could have the cinema in our life if we just try. Put in the effort, and you'll get there. You'll get somewhere. You'll get some sparrows. You spent $7,000 to get sparrow footage. You're not disappointed in yourself. You're proud. Why wouldn't you be? Sparrows. You ever seen those? Those are pretty rare. I might come across one with a white feather or something in his head. A genetic defect. You don't know that I won't see that. I'm happy I spent that kind of money. Local footage here. Squirrels. It's good. Good purchase. Okay, let's switch back to base ISO and then I will leave your life. I pretty much lied to you. I decided instead to go to the highest ISO possible below the extra ones. 102,400 because I know it looks good enough because Sony is good in low light. Someone said it once and I think we're witnessing that he was right. He was right. I don't even see details lost. In fact, I think they gained sharpness. Less noise. That's what I'm seeing. So I'm going to leave. What do you think? Proper shutter? Good? Is it worth the extra effort? Because it is much more. Usually I just point and camera exposes. Not me. I shouldn't have to do that. Painted boy, I need a 77mm filter. Oh, that's a bitch. All these different sizes. That's why it's good to have just one system for wildlife. Or everything. Wow. I'm going to go. Audio was brought to you by Audacity. Free open source technology. Dynamic mic. In the shot. I'll go after you buy something. And subscribe so you can buy more things.